On my birthday night, I waited for Ethan at the restaurant until 10:30. He had stood me up again. Seeing social media post, my heart didn't even flicker with emotion. In that moment, I realized I was finally at peace. Ethan had even booked this restaurant in advance. Last month, for Chloe's birthday, Ethan took her to the beach to watch the sunrise. I angrily confronted Ethan, but he blamed me for being overly suspicious, claiming it was a group of friends, not just the two of them. Because of it, we gave each other the silent treatment for half a month. Yesterday, Ethan sent me a screenshot of the restaurant reservation. I knew he was giving me an out. Every time we argued or had the silent treatment, I was the one who initiated reconciliation, speaking to him first. Then, after we made up, he'd give me a gift or some attention, appease me slightly, and I'd be overjoyed, forgetting all the past unpleasantness, completely rekindling my enthusiasm for him. This had been our pattern for the past few years. He'd hit me and then offer a sweet treat, and I'd forget all grievances. The temperature of our relationship, whether cold or warm, was entirely at his discretion. I was like a kite he played with, the string controlling me firmly in his grasp. He manipulated my emotions, my joys and sorrows, according to his mood. It was my own weakness, always remembering the good and forgetting the pain. I loved too humbly. But yesterday, when I saw the restaurant reservation screenshot he sent, I didn't feel the usual joy. If it had been before, just the fact that he remembered my birthday would have been enough to make me feel overwhelmed. After all, every year for my birthday, I'd have to remind him repeatedly for days in advance before he'd remember to buy me a gift. This year, I had even forgotten my own birthday, given no reminders, yet he still managed to remember it on his own. Yesterday, at work, when I received his message, I was surprised to realize my birthday had arrived. I replied, "Okay, see you at the restaurant tomorrow night." I turned off my phone and continued with my work, not secretly savoring his gesture of goodwill for a long time as I usually would. After work this evening, I received a message from Ethan, "See you at the restaurant soon." After work, I arrived at the restaurant first. The reservation was for 7, and I got there at 6:30. By 8 o'clock, Ethan still hadn't arrived. I called him, but no one answered, and he didn't reply to my messages either. At 9:30, the server asked if I was ready to order, mentioning they closed at 10:30. I nodded. Slowly, I finished my steak alone, drank some red wine, and at 10:30, I walked out of the restaurant. As I stood by the roadside waiting for a ride, I scrolled through Chloe's social media post. The caption read, "You are my sense of security." The accompanying picture was a side profile of Ethan sitting on a sofa. In that instant, seeing the picture, I felt no anger, no grievance, and no sadness. My heart was utterly calm. Instead, there was a sense of accomplishment, as if I had already guessed the answer to a riddle. See? I knew it. Every time he stood me up, it was because of Chloe. Strangely, this time, I wasn't sad at all. After returning home, I washed up and went straight to sleep. In the middle of the night, while I was sound asleep, I heard the sound of the door opening. I knew Ethan was back. Annoyed after being woken up, I closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep, not wanting to deal with him. The soft footsteps stopped by the bed, lingering for a long time without movement. Even with my eyes closed, I could feel his intense gaze fixed on me. What's wrong with Ethan? Why didn't he just wash up and go to sleep instead of staring at me after coming home? It's really annoying to disturb someone else's sleep. Was it because I didn't, like before, turn on all the lights in the house, sit angrily in the living room waiting for him to come back, and then confront and argue with him? He should be happy, shouldn't he? After all, every time I used to act out or even become hysterical like that, he would just watch coldly from the side, his eyes filled with impatience and disdain. His condescending gaze was like he was watching an unreasonable clown. Before, when I argued about his relationship with Chloe, he would at least explain a few things, saying they were just friends, had never crossed any lines, and that I was overthinking it. Later, he couldn't even be bothered to explain anything at all. He would just let my emotions erupt like a volcano, then slowly extinguish themselves. Now, I had finally come to terms with it and let go. Thinking back to my old self, I really was quite crazy. I must have looked awful every time I had an emotional breakdown, right? No wonder Ethan found me repulsive. At that moment, I had no desire to question him, I just wanted to sleep. Ethan stared for a while, and seeing no movement from me, he called out, "Audrey?" I feigned deep sleep, not moving a muscle. After a moment, he finally left. I heard the sound of running water from the bathroom. He was washing up. The faint sound actually had a hypnotic effect. I listened to it and drifted off to sleep, not even knowing when Ethan came to bed. The next morning, I got up and went straight to work. I was immersed in my work all day, and time passed quickly. After work, I ate out before going home. As soon as I entered, Ethan was sitting on the sofa. "Why are you home so early today?" I asked him while changing my shoes. "No overtime," he said. "Oh," I nodded, hung up my bag, and prepared to go to my home office. "Audrey," Ethan called out to me, "I bought your birthday gift a while ago, yesterday, thank you." I took the exquisite little box from his hand. Opening it, I saw a beautiful bracelet. "It's beautiful, I love it," I smiled at him. "I'll wear it tomorrow." As I turned to leave, Ethan grabbed my arm. "I am sorry about yesterday, I missed our appointment," he explained. "I was almost at the restaurant when I got a call from Chloe. She said her ex-boyfriend was tracking her again, and she was really scared. It's truly unsafe for a girl living alone." "I believe you," I cut him off. "It's true, you can't let a girl face danger alone. Her ex-boyfriend is unhinged, you've mentioned that. All right, I still have some work to finish, I'm going to work overtime now." "Audrey." He still didn't let go. I looked at him, puzzled. "I haven't eaten yet." "Oh, I've already eaten. You can order takeout then." With that, I pulled my arm free from his grasp and went straight to my home office. Just as I sat down, I heard the front door slam shut outside. I came out to see, and Ethan was no longer home. He had given me a gift and offered an olive branch, but I hadn't taken the hint. Ethan and I started the silent treatment again. In the past, every time we had the silent treatment, I'd feel down, racking my brain for ways to reconcile with him quickly. But now, after a few days of silent treatment, I actually felt a sense of relief. At night, Ethan slept in the guest room, and I enjoyed the large bed all to myself, sleeping more soundly than usual. In the mornings, I no longer got up early to make breakfast for Ethan, allowing myself an extra half-hour of sleep every day. At work, Ethan's face no longer popped into my mind constantly, and I stopped frequently messaging him. My work efficiency had even improved significantly. Work that used to drag on until closing time was now completed ahead of schedule every day. After work, I couldn't be bothered to go back home and cook anymore. To ensure Ethan ate healthily, I had honed my cooking skills, returning home every day after work to prepare meals. However, he had so many social gatherings that it was rare for him to come home for dinner more than twice a week. No longer revolving around Ethan, I discovered I had a lot of free time. I finished an entire TV series in just 3 evenings. At the office, hearing a newly hired young woman talk about studying for a professional certification related to our work, I felt a pang of shame. Here was a young woman fresh out of college who knew to seize the time to improve herself, while I, after working for so many years, was still drifting aimlessly, just getting by day. It was all because my old self was too obsessed with romance. After graduation, my life's aspiration was to marry Ethan. To this day, that wish hasn't come true. For my past self, the focus of life revolved entirely around Ethan. I even thought that if, after marriage, Ethan wanted me to quit my job and become a housewife, I would agree without hesitation. Marrying, having children, and taking care of our small family, that, to me, was happiness, the life I yearned for. Now, after this sudden realization, I discovered I was quite a failure. In relationships, I constantly gave, yet received no equal response. The other party wasn't even willing to offer a commitment to marriage. My career was a mess, with no progress whatsoever. The drive of the newly hired young woman inspired me. I thought, it's time to try and change. I humbly sought advice from colleagues, purchased study materials, and began preparing for the certification exam. Every day after work, I'd grab a quick bite outside, then go home and immerse myself in my home office, studying until I went to sleep. These past few days, Ethan was probably still sulking, coming home very late every night. This worked out perfectly. The house was quiet, making it easy for me to study. During my lunch break, while scrolling on my phone, I uncharacteristically noticed Ethan had updated his social media post. It was just a photo, with no caption. The photo showed a dining table with several dishes and 2 sets of plates and utensils. From one corner of the table, a hand was visible, wearing the watch I had bought him. I knew Ethan T. Oh well, he deliberately posted that photo of him and Chloe eating together just to spite me. But I no longer felt that sense of anger or jealousy. Nor was I likely to pick up the phone immediately and angrily confront him. I just glanced at it, then continued scrolling through other people's updates. In the evening, I received a call from Ethan. "I'll pick you up after work." His voice was devoid of emotion. My first reaction was resistance. "No need, I'm working overtime today, so I'll be back late," I instinctively lied. "Until when?" he pressed. 8 o'clock, I stammered, continuing the lie. "Okay, I'll wait for you downstairs at 8, he said before hanging up. To keep up the lie, I didn't leave after work. Instead, I took out my exam materials and started studying in the office. At 8 o'clock, I packed up my things, put on my backpack, and headed downstairs. As I exited the main entrance, I saw the familiar car parked not far away. Walking over, I opened the car door, and Chloe in the passenger seat flashed me a smile. "Audrey, I just had dinner with Ethan, and he's giving me a ride home along the way." I nodded, opened the back door, and got in. Whenever was in the car, I never sat in the passenger seat. I had argued about this more than once, but Ethan clearly favored Chloe, and there was nothing I could do. He said Chloe got carsick and simply sat in the front, asking why I had to be so petty about such a minor thing. I argued that the passenger seat was exclusively for the girlfriend, and he would scoff, calling me overly sensitive. On this matter, I had never won against Chloe. But every time it happened, I would get depressed. Now, however, I had absolutely no desire to fuss over it. After a full day of work and 2 hours of studying, I was drowsy the moment I got into the car. "Ethan, today's shrimp were absolutely amazing. Let's come back to this place next time," Chloe exclaimed excitedly. "Ethan, if you like it, we'll come again next time. But it's always such a bother to have you peel the shrimp for me every time. You don't mind, do you?" Chloe asked playfully. "No, I'm used to it. Audrey, Ethan is really good at peeling shrimp. I'm the one who trained him back in college." Chloe suddenly turned to me. "So, don't you think you should thank me?" "Thank her? Thank her for what?" "Thank her for training Ethan's shrimp peeling skills?" But he had never peeled shrimp for me. I remembered seeing a variety show where a female celebrity said she loved eating shrimp, but if no one peeled it for her, she'd rather not eat it because she didn't want to peel it herself. The first time I went to eat shrimp with Ethan after we started dating, I also playfully asked him to peel it for me. He stopped, looked at me, and said with a half-smile, "Don't you have hands?" The one who loves more is always the humble one, and I immediately fell silent. After that, I never mentioned peeling shrimp in front of him again. I looked up at Chloe. The car lights were dim, but I could still see the triumph and provocation in her eyes. She was always like this, subtly provoking me to get angry, then waiting for Ethan to lecture me and protect her. Over and over again, she never tired of it. However, at that moment, I wasn't provoked by her in the slightest, nor did I have any interest in arguing with her. "Oh, well, thank you," I said dismissively. Her goal not achieved, Chloe gritted her teeth and turned her head to chat with Ethan, smiling brightly. Ethan's tone with her was always gentle. Listening to their lively conversation, my eyelids grew heavy, and the sounds around me gradually faded. When I woke up, I found the car parked downstairs at the apartment complex, with Ethan sitting quietly in the front seat. Chloe was no longer in the passenger seat. "Why didn't you wake me up when we got home?" I sat up straight and opened the car door. Ethan followed behind me, not saying a word. After exiting the elevator and entering the apartment, he finally spoke. "Very tired?" "Huh?" Chloe and I were still talking, and you fell asleep in the car. "Yeah, I am a bit tired." I wasn't interested in talking to him, I just wanted to shower and go to sleep quickly. Today was Yang's gathering, just the guys from our college dorm. He was the one who invited Chloe too. You know they're all close with her and always like to invite her when they eat out. Since it was on the way back, I just gave her a ride, he suddenly started explaining. It was quite rare, in the past, when I'd argue and ask why he was always hanging out with Chloe, he'd never deign to explain. Now that I wasn't asking, he actually started explaining on his own. I nodded, walking towards the bathroom. "I had actually wanted to bring you along, but you said you had to work overtime, so I came to pick you up only after finishing dinner," he continued to explain. "Okay, I get it, I'm going to take a shower now," I said, hurrying away. After showering, I went straight to bed. The next evening after work, I surprisingly saw Ethan downstairs again. This time, Chloe wasn't in the car. I still sat in the back seat, and Ethan looked back at me, hesitating as if to speak. I must say, sitting in the back felt like treating him as my personal driver, which was quite satisfying. I shouldn't have fussed over this before. Today, Leo is moving, and he invited us to his place for hot pot, Ethan said as the car started. Leo was also his college roommate. Coincidentally, all 4 of Ethan's college roommates stayed in the local area after graduation. The few of them were close and often organized gatherings to hang out or have meals. Ethan had pursued Chloe in college, and his roommates all acted as strategists, offering advice. Although he didn't win her over, it didn't stop Chloe from becoming good friends with them. Over the years, Chloe had dated several boyfriends, but she always said boyfriends were boyfriends, and friends were friends. She said Ethan would always be her good friend. Recently, Chloe broke up with her ex-boyfriend and started frequently attending their gatherings again. Every time I saw Ethan taking care of her, my blood pressure would rise. I had argued and made a fuss, but it was useless. Eventually, I just stopped going to their gatherings altogether, out of sight, out of mind. You guys go have fun, just drop me off first, I said. I really had no interest in their dinner party. Ethan, we'll be back after dinner, it won't be too late. Leo specifically told me to bring you, saying he hasn't seen you in a long time. All right, I relented. We stood at the entrance of Leo's new home. After the doorbell rang, the front door opened. Suddenly, someone darted out of the house, jumping onto Ethan's back like a monkey, wrapping her arms tightly around his neck. The movement was so quick that Ethan almost lost his balance, but he seemed accustomed to such actions, instinctively reaching back to steady the person on his back. Haha, Ethan, you're late. Your punishment is to carry me and do 10 push-ups. Chloe triumphantly yelled from his back. After steadying her, Ethan suddenly froze, then looked up at me. Seeing the panic in his eyes, I smiled back. He stared blankly for a moment, then suddenly let go. Chloe, caught off guard, tumbled off his back. Angrily, she hit Ethan, complaining, "What are you doing? You almost made me fall." As she looked up, as if just noticing me, she exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, Audrey's here too." Ethan and I were just messing around. When we used to lose games, this was our punishment. Audrey, you don't mind, do you? No, I don't mind at all, I said. Play however you like, don't mind me. I'll just watch TV over here. With that, I picked up the remote and began seriously selecting a program. Oh, by the way, Audrey, do you know how amazing Ethan is? He can do more than 10 push-ups while carrying me on his back. Really? I've never seen that before. Why don't you do it now and give me a show? I put down the remote and looked at them curiously. I'm going to help Leo in the kitchen. Ethan suddenly stood up and walked towards the kitchen with a blank expression. The rest of us sat in the living room, looking at each other awkwardly. While eating hot pot, I sat on Ethan's left, and Chloe sat on his right. Oh no, how did I pick up a piece of lamb? Chloe said, then dropped the lamb into Ethan's bowl. They used to do such boundary-crossing things frequently, but the difference was, now I didn't feel the slightest emotional reaction to such behavior. Leo was a good cook, and I just focused on eating, unknowingly stuffing myself. After dinner, Chloe suggested playing games, but I wanted to go home since I hadn't reviewed my studies yet today. You guys play, I'll head back first. I stood up. Let's go together. Ethan also stood up. No need, you guys play. I can take a cab myself. I genuinely meant it. But I didn't know how I had provoked Ethan. His face darkened, and he said stiffly, "Let's go home, now." Then, "I'll go too, I'll hitch a ride with Ethan," Chloe said. When we reached the car, I directly opened the back door and got in. As soon as I got in the car, I opened my phone and started doing practice questions. Before the certification exam, my plan was to study for 2 hours every day. Work was too busy today, and I hadn't studied for a minute yet, so I had to make the most of my time. I figured I'd use this half hour on the way home to do practice questions, and then only need to study for another hour and a half once I got home. After concentrating on a few questions, I realized the atmosphere in the car today was unusually quiet. Ethan, when I was just talking to you, your attitude was so perfunctory, always replying with MHM or O. If you keep this up, I'll get angry. After a moment of silence, Chloe spoke up. Ethan, I'm tired today. Chloe, don't distract me from driving. Humph. Chloe stopped talking. When she got out of the car, she slammed the door shut to express her displeasure. After returning home, I went straight to my home office. An hour and a half later, when I came out, Ethan had already gone into the guest room. I breathed a sigh of relief. Since our argument, we had been sleeping in separate rooms. Ethan was always arrogant, and if I didn't make the first move to show weakness, he would never come over on his own. That was fine. In the morning, when I came out of my bedroom, I was surprised to find Ethan already awake. "You go get ready first, no rush, I'll drive you later," he said, looking at me from the sofa. "No need, I'm riding with a colleague." As I left, he followed behind me. "Just take my car, it's inconvenient to trouble others." "It's no trouble, I pay for it." When first bought his car, he did pick me up and drop me off for a while. Later, he found it too bothersome. Because my workplace wasn't entirely on his way, requiring an extra turn, he felt it wasted time. "From now on, just take the subway yourself, I want to sleep in a bit more in the mornings." He threw that sentence at me and never drove me to work again. His excuses for not picking me up after work were even more numerous: working overtime, dining with colleagues, hanging out with friends. He just never seemed to be available when I finished. Later, a colleague asked in a group chat if anyone was going their way and could share a ride, but it would cost money. It happened to be on my way, so I took his car to work every day. It was more cost-effective than the subway and saved time. As for going home after work, if I continued to take his car every day, it would cost an extra $200 a month. I didn't feel rushed at night, so I chose to take the subway home to save some money. Ethan dropped me off at the apartment complex entrance and watched me get into my colleague's car. Just as I arrived at the office, I received a message from him. "Are you only one riding with that colleague?" I replied, "Yeah, we're the only ones in the company going the same way. From now on, I'll drive you instead." Young men and women going to work together every day, other colleagues might gossip. No one's gossiping, and besides, didn't you want to sleep in more in the mornings? "Starting tomorrow, I'll wake up with you every day. Let's talk about it next month, I've already paid someone else for this month." There was no further reply. I began to focus on my work. During lunch, Ethan sent another message. Opening it, I saw a picture. "The food at the company cafeteria, pretty good, right?" I didn't reply. He sent another message. "What did you eat for lunch?" I didn't understand. Was Ethan trying to share his life with me? Before, that was always something I did. I scrolled up through our chat history, and vast stretches of text were all my one-sided output. Because I liked Ethan, I had a great desire to share with him. Seeing a cute dog on the street, drinking a delicious beverage, being praised or criticized by my boss, tripping while walking, discovering a new trending spot to visit. I loved sharing all these little everyday things with him. When we first started dating, our conversations were back and forth. Slowly, it evolved into me sending a flood of messages, and he would only reply to the last one, usually with just 2 or 3 words. I knew that much of what I enthusiastically shared, he probably couldn't even be bothered to glance at. I went from initial disappointment to eventually becoming accustomed to it. Who told me to like him? Who told me to love so humbly? Finally, my enthusiasm for sharing died out, and I lost the desire to message him. Looking at our recent chat history, I realized I hadn't proactively sent him a single message in a week. Today was Friday, and a colleague suggested we eat together tonight. In the past, I never attended such gatherings. When I first started working, I occasionally dinner with colleagues, but often went out for dinner with his college roommates, only eating at home 2 or 3 days a week. Once, when I was out having dinner with colleagues, Ethan happened to come home early that day and called to ask where I was. I was annoyed, feeling that since he rarely ate at home anyway, I had just missed one of those rare opportunities. Later, to avoid missing any chance to have dinner with him, I stopped attending colleague gatherings altogether. Every evening after work, I would go home early, cook dinner myself, and wait for Ethan to occasionally show up. Consequently, my relationships with my colleagues were rather superficial. After working for several years, even with people in the same office, I only had casual acquaintances. After thinking for a moment, I said to the colleague next to me, "Where are you guys having dinner tonight? I'll join too." My colleague exclaimed in surprise, "Wow, even Audrey's joining. No one can bail tonight, it's so rare for us to all get together." Just before quitting time, Ethan called. "Audrey, I'll pick you up shortly. Let's go grocery shopping, it's been a long time since we've eaten at home together. No need, I'm having dinner with colleagues tonight. Can you? I never go to gatherings. I'm already pretty unsociable, so I can't back out, I interrupted him. This dinner was the first time the entire department had gathered in a long while, and everyone was happy. I also had a little to drink. During dinner, Ethan called me a few times, asking when it would end so he could come pick me up. I told him there was no need to pick me up, that I wasn't sure when it would end, and everyone was having a great time, so he should just go to sleep first. Where's the dinner place? I'll head over first and wait for you outside. It's late, and it's not safe for a girl to go home alone. Were those words actually coming from Ethan? I could hardly believe it. After all, he had once refused to pick me up from the airport at 1 in the morning when I returned from a business trip. He said he had to get up early for work the next day and couldn't stay up late. He also said the airport was crowded, and it was easy to get a cab even in the middle of the night. I just needed to share my location with him, and I wouldn't have to worry about danger. And now, it wasn't even 9 o'clock, yet he was actually worried about me going home alone at night. Are men really this fickle? At 9:30, Ethan messaged that he was already outside the restaurant. The dinner ended around 10 o'clock, and as I stepped out, I saw him waiting at the entrance. Did you drink? He came over and steadied me. Just a little red wine, I said. My alcohol tolerance was low, even a small glass made me dizzy. Ethan helped me into the passenger seat and buckled my seatbelt. He got into the car, but didn't immediately start it. Instead, he leaned over and hugged me. So this is what it feels like to wait for someone. I'm sorry, Audrey, for making you wait so many times before. It won't happen again. I frowned, pushed him away, and mumbled, just drive. I want to go home and sleep. He chuckled and patted my head. With such a low tolerance, you still dare to drink? I'll have to keep a closer eye on you from now on. You wouldn't even know if someone sold you off. Ethan was like a completely different person, as if he'd been possessed. Our roles in the relationship had reversed. He had become the clingy one. He picked me up from work on time every day, no longer attended gatherings with his roommates, and insisted on eating dinner at home with me. I told him I needed to study for my certification exam and didn't have the time or energy to cook. He said he'd do it. And he actually followed through. Every day when he came home, he'd buy groceries at the supermarket outside the apartment complex, and as soon as he entered the apartment, he'd head to the kitchen to busy himself. I thought Ethan couldn't cook. After all, he had never cooked a single meal for me. To my surprise, his cooking skills were actually quite good. It turned out he wasn't unable to, he just hadn't been willing to cook for me. Chloe had once posted a picture of him cooking porridge on her social media post. Now, Ethan seemed eager to show off all his cooking skills, preparing different dishes every day. After dinner, he wouldn't even let me wash the dishes, urging me to go study quickly. Ethan's thoughtfulness and attentiveness, however, made me feel uneasy. I felt no sense of relief, instead, the pressure doubled. Because while I was studying, he would constantly open the home office door, asking if I wanted water or fruit. He was disturbing me. I was very irritated. So, I lied to him, saying I had to work overtime during this period, finishing at 8 every day. In reality, after work, I would just study in the office. Without his interference, I could finally have some peace and quiet. That day, after work, I took out my review materials. Half an hour later, the entire building lost power. I asked the security guard, and he said he didn't know where the problem was with the wiring, but they were looking for someone to repair it. I packed up my materials and headed straight for the coffee shop across the street. I ordered a coffee and sat there doing practice questions for 2 hours. Afterward, I hurried back to the office building downstairs, across the street. I told Ethan I was working overtime lately and he didn't need to pick me up. He still insisted on coming every night at 8. When I got downstairs, his car just happened to pull up. Lately, he had been unusually talkative, always finding various topics to chat about with me. He'd ask how work was going, if my studying was smooth, and how I was getting along with colleagues. Even if I just gave perfunctory answers, his enthusiasm didn't wane. But tonight, he didn't say a word the entire way. Perfect, I could close my eyes and zone out for a while. As I entered the apartment, changing my shoes, Ethan finally broke the silence. You haven't been working overtime these past few days, have you? I paused, then admitted directly, that's right. Every day after work, I've driven directly to your company building and waited downstairs. I usually arrive around 6:30 and sit in the car for an hour and a half, waiting for you to come down. Today was the same, but as soon as I got there, the building lost power. I saw you rushing out of the main entrance, and before I could call out, you ran across the street. I followed behind you, watching you do practice questions in the coffee shop until 8 o'clock. Oh, you saw me? Why didn't you call out? I felt a bit awkward. These past few days, you haven't been working overtime, you've been studying in the office, right? Then why don't you come home to study? Audrey, we're not even married yet. Are you already tired of coming home? Would you rather hide in the office than see me? Tell me what I've done wrong, and I can change. Since the conversation had come to this, I pursed my lips. All right, I think we should have a serious talk about our relationship, Audrey. I just remembered, I have a business trip to a nearby city tomorrow. Ethan suddenly interrupted me. I need to get up early tomorrow, so let's get some rest tonight. We can talk about everything when I get back. I didn't know if it was my imagination, but there was a hint of panic in his eyes. I sighed. All right then. Have you packed your bags? Not yet. Well, hurry up and pack then. I'm going to take a shower first. In the past, I used to pack Ethan's bags every time he went on a business trip, but now I no longer had the patience for it. In the morning, watching Ethan leave with his suitcase, I actually felt a sense of relief I hadn't experienced in a long time. I wouldn't have to face him for the next few days. I could truly enjoy my time alone. On the third day of Ethan's business trip, at noon, I received a call from Chloe. She told me Ethan had a severe cold and was receiving an IV drip at City General Hospital. Taking advantage of my lunch break, I took a cab to the hospital. Ethan's face was pale as he leaned back in a recliner, getting an IV drip. He looked utterly weak and indeed quite ill. Aren't you supposed to be on a business trip? I asked, walking over to him. Ethan opened his eyes, and upon seeing me, his expression first showed surprise, then guilt. Audrey, what are you doing here? Who told you? I told her, Chloe said, walking in from outside, carrying a hot water cup. She looked at me, her voice righteous. What have you done to Ethan? You've made him afraid to even come home. He's been staying at Leo's place these past few days. How can you be so domineering? You've gone too far. I looked at Ethan. You said you were on a business trip. Ethan couldn't meet my gaze, his voice weak as he said, I'm sorry, Audrey, I lied to you. I wasn't on a business trip. I understood, he was avoiding me. He also realized there was a problem between us. Last time, he exposed my lie about working overtime, and I was planning to use that opportunity to have a serious talk with him. Yet he used the lie of a business trip to escape, preferring to stay at a friend's house, avoiding seeing me, and unwilling to face our problems. Ethan, constantly avoiding things isn't a solution. You know we need to talk. Okay, can we talk after I get better? His eyes were full of pleading. All right, I nodded. Then you rest well. I'm going to work. Audrey, aren't you staying? He looked at me piteously. It's just a cold, I said coldly. You're an adult. Why are you acting so dramatic? Hearing that, Ethan froze, abruptly looking up at me. From his wounded gaze, I could tell he understood. Those were the exact words he had once said to me. Last winter, I had a fever of 101.3 degrees Fahrenheit and went to the City General Hospital for an IV at night. Seeing everyone around me accompanied by someone, I was all alone. I couldn't help but call Ethan, asking him to come and keep me company at the hospital. He coldly refused, saying, You're an adult, you don't need to be so dramatic, do you? It's just a cold. Can't you get a shot without me? Loud music blared from the other end of the phone, and Chloe was shouting, Ethan, it's your turn to sing. I was battling a severe cold, yet he was out singing karaoke with his friends. In that moment, I felt utterly heartbroken. I blame myself for being so foolish. I only gave him the silent treatment for a few days before he sweet-talked me into forgiving him. Ethan must have remembered the incident too, as his voice trembled when he said, I'm sorry. His own words were like a sharp sword piercing straight to the heart, yet he had been completely oblivious. It wasn't until that sword turned on him that he finally understood how hurtful cruel words could be. People like him never truly understand empathy unless they experience it themselves. Chloe, standing nearby, couldn't bear to watch. She looked at Ethan with concern. You're the one who's sick, and she, as your girlfriend, is completely neglecting you and ready to abandon you. Why are you apologizing? I let out a soft laugh. See? You're not short on people who care about you. Of course, I won't be as cold-hearted as you. I'll take good care of Ethan, Chloe declared loudly with her head held high. I had nothing to say and turned to leave. That night, Ethan didn't come home. He sent me a message saying he was staying at Leo's place for now and would come back to talk seriously with me once he recovered. In truth, I had already made up my mind about our relationship. It was over. The word breakup is easy to say, but making the decision is quite difficult. Ethan and I had been together for too long. We started dating in our junior year of college, and now, more than 5 years after graduation, we'd been together for 7 years. In the first few years, we truly loved each other and had many sweet moments. During college, we had plenty of time, and our dates took us to every corner of the city. This city witnessed our beautiful past, with photos we'd taken at every scenic spot. During graduation season, we helped each other refine our resumes and attended major job fairs together. After we secured our jobs, we happily ran to the mountaintop to drink beer and sing loudly. We rented a place and carefully decorated our little home, dreaming of a beautiful future. Back then, every day was joyful. When did things start to change between us? It was probably when Ethan's heart started to wander. To be precise, it was when Chloe reappeared in our lives. I had heard Chloe's name in college. At the time, Ethan and I were in the same department in the student government, and our relationship was quite good. His friends had told me he was pursuing a girl named Chloe. However, since Chloe and I weren't in the same major, I had never met her. In my eyes, Ethan was outstanding, exceptionally capable. In his sophomore year, he was promoted to department head and was the student government president's chosen successor. He excelled academically, earning scholarships every semester. He was also very loyal. Once, during a student government event, there was a mishap, primarily the responsibility of another student in our department, but stepped forward and took all the blame himself. Whenever I encountered problems, I would ask him for advice, and he would patiently guide and help me. I guess my liking for Ethan began with admiration. Besides inner qualities, he also had outer charm, a tall, handsome figure that left nothing to criticize. In my eyes, Ethan was perfect, someone who made my heart pound. Yet this perfect person pursued Chloe for 2 years without success. After started dating someone else, Ethan visibly became disheartened, even his smiles held a hint of bitterness. I felt wronged and that he deserved better. Why didn't Chloe like such an excellent person? In our junior year, on an unremarkable evening after a student government meeting, I gathered my courage and confessed my feelings to Ethan. To my delight, he accepted. After we started dating, Ethan became happier day by day, and his smiles grew more frequent. From the way he looked at me, I knew he liked me too. Near graduation, we once ran into Chloe on campus. I didn't recognize Chloe and noticed Ethan staring intently at the girl. I only found out who she was when I asked. So that was the girl who had rejected him time and again. She was the one he couldn't have. Chloe was arm in arm with her then boyfriend. I started to understand why Chloe had rejected him. Chloe's boyfriend wasn't handsome, and he was short, about the same height as her. However, he was dressed in designer brands from head to toe. It turned out that this was where Ethan had fallen short. He was good in every way, except for one thing: his family background was too ordinary. He was a brilliant student who came from humble beginnings in a small town and excelled academically. His parents were ordinary working-class people. The bag Chloe carried was worth tens of thousands. This was something Ethan couldn't provide for her. After graduation, Chloe moved out of town. 3 years ago, she returned to this city and began to frequently appear in our lives, introduced as Ethan's friend. Ethan's emotions were stirred by her, and he slowly became distracted in our relationship. No matter when, a single phone call from Chloe could pull him away from my side. I argued and fussed, but that only pushed Ethan further away. He became increasingly impatient with me. I had thought about breaking up, but I wasn't willing to give up. I hadn't done anything wrong, why should I be the one to let go? No matter how fierce our arguments got, I never brought up the word breakup. I was afraid that if I did, Ethan would actually leaving no room for regret. I knew in my heart that I still loved Ethan and couldn't bear to end things. I thought I would continue to endure this with him, but I hadn't anticipated a time when I would be completely exhausted. The love that was once so full, simply swayed and spilled out, little by little, until nothing was left. It turned out my love for him could also run out. When I realized he could no longer stir my emotions, I knew I was no longer in love. I felt no regret, only a sense of lightness. The decision to break up was the result of much careful thought over this past while. Since I was certain I no longer loved him, there was no need to stay together. Once, I thought we would walk together forever, get married, have children, and grow old together. I had fantasized about our beautiful future countless times. However, cutting my losses in time wasn't necessarily a bad thing. At 28, I was no longer young, and I might never meet someone I loved so deeply again. But what of it? Life isn't just about love. At 28, I wasn't old either, adjusting myself and starting anew wasn't too late. I don't regret this relationship. Our beginning was beautiful, and I experienced what it felt like to be loved. In this relationship, I loved deeply, gave my all, and gained much. I didn't feel like I had wasted my youth. This experience made me more mature and composed. I can love, and I can let go. The next day, and the day after, Ethan still didn't come home. I wondered if he was still avoiding me. Just as I was planning to go see him after work to confront the issue, I received a call from Patricia. Patricia said that Robert had been complaining about leg pain for the past few days. They had x-rays done at the hospital, but nothing unusual was found. I was a bit worried. You two should come over tomorrow. I'll take Robert for a comprehensive checkup. A larger hospital is more reliable. Patricia, you can also get a full-body checkup while you at it. My parents lived in our hometown, a small town. It only took a little over an hour to reach this state capital by high-speed train. I took 2 days off work and went to the train station to pick them up around 9 in the morning. After's checkup, we were relieved to find it wasn't anything serious. He just needed to rest well. Patricia's checkup also showed no problems. With one more day of vacation remaining on Friday, plus the 2 weekend days, I decided to take them sightseeing. I booked a hotel room for them and took them around for 3 days, taking many photos. On the way to drop them off at the train station, I chose a group photo of the 3 of us and posted it on my social media. Right after I posted, I received a call from Ethan. Robert and Patricia are here? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Why should I tell you? I could have come with you, taken them out. Didn't you say you're uncomfortable around older people and weren't ready to meet my parents? He fell silent on the other end. Let's meet and talk tonight. Dragging this out won't solve anything. I hung up immediately after saying that. Ethan and I had been together for 7 years, yet neither of us had met the other's parents. At first, it was because we were young and didn't think too deeply about it. After I turned 25, I started thinking about marriage. During the holiday season last year, I tentatively suggested to Ethan that I go back to his hometown with him. He didn't agree, saying it was too sudden and he hadn't informed his parents in advance. Last day weekend, Robert and Patricia came to visit, and I wanted Ethan to join us, but he refused again. He said he wasn't comfortable around older people and wasn't ready to meet my parents. He even complained that I was always putting pressure on him like this. After that, I never brought up meeting his parents again. At the train station, there was still a long time before departure, so I sat outside with Robert and Patricia, chatting. As it got closer to departure time, I walked them towards the entrance gate. Audrey. A familiar voice called from behind. I turned around and saw Ethan, his hands full of gift boxes. Robert, Patricia, I'm Audrey's boyfriend. I've been busy these past few days, so I apologize for not being able to accompany you, he said with a big smile on his face, continuing on his own accord. These are some health supplements I bought for you, a small token of my appreciation, please don't refuse. Robert and Patricia looked at him, then at me, surprised, unsure if this was real. Robert, Patricia, it's almost time, you should go quickly. I'll explain later, I urged them. My parents entered the train station, looking bewildered. Turning back, my expression changed. Ethan, who told you to come here? I'm your boyfriend. It would be rude if I didn't meet Robert and Patricia when they came. Now you know it's rude? You certainly didn't say that before. Audrey, I wasn't mature enough before. I was wrong, and I apologize to you. Your behavior today was presumptuous, I said, looking at him calmly. Go back. I have something to say to you. Once inside the apartment, I sat down and went straight to the point. Before, I was deceiving myself, pretending not to see the problems between us. But our relationship hasn't been normal for a long time. I've thought seriously about it recently and made a decision, Ethan, Audrey, let's get married. Ethan suddenly interrupted me, pulling a small, exquisite box from his pocket. He opened the box, revealing a sparkling diamond ring inside. I was momentarily stunned. He continued, I haven't been home these past few days because I was thinking about proposing to you. I went to several places to find this ring. It's the style you like. The diamond ring in front of me had a heart-shaped design, which was indeed a style I liked. I remembered seeing such a design in a magazine once. At the time, I held the magazine up to Ethan and asked him if it looked good. Actually, I was just testing his attitude towards marriage. He casually glanced at it, pushed the magazine aside, and said coldly, it's ugly. Back then, I was very disappointed. Because I really wanted to marry him, dreaming of him proposing to me. Now, he was actually proposing, but I felt no joy. Expectations also have an expiration date. Once passed, they become void. Audrey, will you marry me? Ethan gazed at me deeply. No, every word was laced with indifference. As if it were the expected answer, Ethan showed no surprise. He forced a bitter, ugly smile, looking as if he was about to cry. Was it my birthday that day? Huh? I didn't understand what he meant. He said with difficulty, I missed your birthday. The next morning, you stopped making breakfast and messaging me. When I went out with friends, you didn't call me repeatedly, asking where I was or urging me to come home. When got close to me, you no longer got angry. All the changes started that night. I shook my head. No, that night was just the straw that broke the camel's back. We had problems much earlier than that, accumulating day by day until it all erupted. I know, I did many things wrong before, and it's right for you to be angry. Audrey, I just ask for one more chance. I'll change everything. I'll become the boyfriend you're satisfied with until you're willing to marry me. His voice was choked with emotion. I'll make you breakfast every morning, pick you up and drop you off from work, and no one else will ever sit in my passenger seat again. You like shrimp, so I'll peel them for you from now on. On holidays, I'll travel with you wherever you want to go. I'll reduce my outings with friends and come home for dinner every day. I'll never forget your birthday again, or miss any anniversary. I blinked, looking at him, saying nothing. He grew more anxious. My relationship with Chloe was mishandled. From now on, I won't see her again. I'll delete her WhatsApp, her phone number, all her contact information. I gently sighed. So you see, you know exactly what you've done wrong, don't you? As a boyfriend, you knew what not to do and what was inappropriate towards a girlfriend, yet you did it all. And when I questioned you, you turned around and blamed me. It's simply because you didn't care about me. You took advantage of my love for you, disregarded my feelings, disrespected me, believing that no matter how you treated me, I'd never leave. That's what they call, those who are favored often become complacent. I'm sorry. He just kept apologizing. We no longer love each other. Breaking up is the best outcome. No. Audrey, I still love you, I've always loved you. I'm sorry, but I haven't felt your love. All I've felt is your indifference, neglect, and disregard. I believe the person you love is Chloe. For her, you're always available, always there at her beck and call, taking care of her every need. That's what love is. I also thought I still had feelings for her. But that was just an illusion. It was only when I felt you leaving that I realized the person I've always loved is you. The thought of losing you makes me feel like dying. Chloe has had so many boyfriends, but I've never felt this way about any of them. Even when you rode in another man's car, I felt jealous. I was foolish, I was slow, I didn't clearly understand my feelings for you. My feelings for Chloe were just a lingering unwillingness to give up on someone I couldn't have, spurred by a man's damn pride and inner weakness, because I couldn't resist my foolish desires. I don't love you anymore, I said calmly. I don't want to compromise myself to be with you anymore. I'm fine. I deserve a loving relationship and a devoted partner. Ethan despairingly covered his head and crouched on the ground. Just as I was about to pack my luggage, the doorbell rang. As soon as I opened the door, Chloe rushed in with a backpack, her face frantic. E.T. Han, you deleted my WhatsApp? I can't reach you by phone either. How could you do this to me? Chloe, her face streaked with tears, squatted opposite Ethan. My apartment's pipes burst, only you can take me in. Before I could speak, she suddenly looked up, glaring at me, feeling perfectly justified. This is Ethan's apartment. You have no right to object. I didn't say I object. You two can do whatever you want. With that, I returned to the bedroom and started packing. Get out. Ethan's loud roar came from the living room. Ethan, you're yelling at me? Chloe's voice was incredulous. You've never been mean to me before. How could you? I won't say it a second time. You're not welcome in my home. Get out now. After a few minutes of silence, I heard the front door violently slam shut. I only packed essential clothes, leaving everything else behind. In total, I only filled 2 suitcases. Dragging the suitcases out, I saw that only Ethan remained in the living room. He frantically ran over and grabbed my suitcase. Don't go, Audrey, please. Stop trying. It's no use. I calmly pulled my suitcase away. Just as I stepped out the door, his voice came from behind me. You'll never forgive me again, will you? I turned back. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, the person I had loved so devotedly. From this departure, may we go our separate ways and never meet again.